Hemp in the carbon credit markets was the first presentation at the EIHA conference. In reviewing the presentations, I have added each organisation's logo to the page, their contact details and websites where possible. Not everyone was as forthcoming with their presentations, and this main slide was provided as a summary for the carbon credit process. You can hover your mouse beneath Sivam Akis's image to watch her presentation again. However, for the purposes of the recording, I do need to play it, so we'll play this now.
Hi everyone, my name is Sylvia Maktas. I'm a policy officer at the European Commission in the Department of Climate Action, namely in the unit Carbon Removals and Land Economy. And I'm very happy to talk to you about the Carbon Removal Certification Framework, give you a brief overview, a couple of tips on how to stay up to date, and also about the relevance for the hemp industry. So a couple of months ago, the Carbon Removal Certification Framework Regulation reached a political agreement. That means the regulation, which essentially sets the standard for how a carbon removal project should look like, has been established. And me with my team are working on the development of the respective methodologies. So this is going into carbon farming, permanent removals, as well as carbon storage from products, and I'm specifically taking care of the latter one. Two methodologies that might be most interesting for you is the carbon farming, as well as the carbon storage and products one. So looking at the specific methodology for carbon storage and products, I would like to give you a little bit more of a big picture overview. Looking at the building and construction environment more broadly, there have been several regulations that have been updated in the last couple of months. Let me start off with the construction product regulation, which now requires the environmental indicators to be mandatorily reported on the declarations of products. And looking from the building perspective, the Energy Performance of Buildings Directive has been revised. There are two important points regarding carbon removals, namely one, it's a mandatory indicator in the national renovation plans, and second, it's a voluntary indicator in the energy performance certificates of the buildings. So what that means is that if a building owner wants to declare the carbon storage capacity of their building, they can do so through the certificate from the Carbon Removal Certification Framework. And this is exactly what we're developing at the moment. So carbon storage certification on a building level, it's a temporary certificate depending on the lifetime of the building. Products that store carbon for more than 35 years or longer fall under this category. And there are obviously some sustainability criteria coming with it as well. So if you're interested in the specific concept of how the certification would look like on building level, and what I would love to highlight here is that bio-based products goes beyond wood. I think there's a big misconception that is constantly happening that we're talking about wooden products or timber products constantly. But I always make sure to highlight that there's a huge set of different innovative construction products based on different feedstocks, like for example hemp, among others as well, that are gaining a bigger and bigger market share, and we want to support that process through this certification, which essentially incentivizes, well, long-term storage of carbon storage, so long-term use of bio-based products, as well as extending the idea of what bio-based products in construction sector means. So from that perspective, I would really recommend you to tune in to the Built by Nature webinar happening on the 25th of June, where I will be talking about the certification concept a little bit more into detail, among other certification schemes and other pioneers in this certification area as well. So I would recommend you to check it out. I can really recommend to subscribe to our team newsletter. So there you can stay up to date with all the developments of the Carbon Removal Certification Framework. Is it in workshops, events, expert group meetings, etc. You'll get them directly to your inbox. And second, you can also follow me on LinkedIn, where I always make sure to share different types of opportunities in this area, specifically when it comes to carbon storage in the built environment. So from that perspective, thanks a lot for listening. I hope this was useful to give you a little sneak peek into what we're doing here at the European Commission. And we would very much encourage you to stay up to date, get involved, share your best practices, and share your insights. And with that, I wish you a really, really nice rest of the conference, fruitful exchanges and partnerships, and looking forward to hearing from you. Have a nice day.
Key to the carbon credit markets is that it operates in a volunteer environment within the ETS, or the European Union Emissions Trading Scheme. So some of the key messages we heard at the conference. Permanent carbon removals has been proven in hempcrete and biochar. Long-lasting carbon storage represents 35 to 100 years and is identified in insulation and construction materials. carbon capture in soil, reduced farming impacts by adopting different model methods, and less reliance on carbon outputters. Fundamentally, there are two options: either pull out CO2 from the environment and store it, or avoid it by using less energy in the manufacturing process, less than 20%. At the moment, it is easier to issue carbon credits here. 1 tonne of CO2 equals 1 carbon credit. So who can apply and who benefits from the credits? Well, essentially you have to prove and pre-sell carbon credits on a percentage to farmers, processors, end users in the supply chain where everyone benefits. Jamie Barclay from Unite Capital is scaling infrastructure for industrial hemp. A 4-year research trial over different sites will collect data sets and life cycle analysis for high carbon capture systems. I'll allow you to read each of these key hurdles to overcome, but for your information, iPro is like our ISO accreditation standard systems. Gregoire Guéridon from Reverse spoke at the conference. Reverse is the first carbon credit certification standard focused on technology-based circular economy projects in Europe. They issue science-grounded carbon credits from projects close to buyers' value chains and geography. Reverse focuses on technology-based products. Their impact is qualified through a proprietary platform developed by climate science and engineering teams using audited primary data. Each project is audited at least annually by an independent validation and verification body.